What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to go ahead and start right back where we left it, getting this engine out of the truck. I have done some work since the last time I filmed. I got the front alternator power steering pump mount off, that bracket. That assembly is right there. We got the starter out. I believe I did film that. We got the intake and everything off. I did some of the water pump lines, got those out. Undid the AC compressor wiring, some wiring in the back. I got the grounds off as well, so I am making some progress on this. One thing that I'm going to be working on next is getting the exhaust manifolds off. We are not going to be able to pull the engine with those exhaust manifolds on, so they have to get taken off. I'm going to go ahead and do that next. That's probably going to be tricky. Other than that, we're not too far away from really getting this engine out. Get those off, go to the back of the engine, make sure we got all the grounds and everything disconnected, get the top transmission bolt out that is at the very top of the engine. And yeah, we'll be pretty daggone close to getting it out. We'll have to take the Valley pan cover plate off. That way we can put our plate we made to hook up to our engine jack or engine hoist. But other than that, we're very close on this. I'm hoping to leave this engine as intact as possible, at least for the removal. We are going to have to tear it apart some for when we transfer components over from one engine to the other. Like I'm going to do the valve covers, coils, Valley pan cover, front engine cover, all of those pieces and items. So got to do all that. Oil pan, I forgot to mention the oil pan. I'm going to have to transfer that over. We are getting closer and closer. One little bit at a time, one piece at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on getting those manifolds off. Probably not going to film it. It's going to be hard to film and it might take a while. Depends on what happens. So go ahead and see what I can do and I'll update y'all when I figure that out. So as you'll notice, the engine is still in the engine bay of the truck. You may be asking yourself, why is that? You guys were pulling on it, yanking on it, trying to get it out. Got it pretty dang close. I mean, we got the Valley pan cover off, knock sensors out, all the wires, got the exhaust manifolds, we got everything out, and well, obviously we're ready to pull it. We're hooked up to the hoist. So what's the issue? Well, we have one transmission bolt that I pulled the wrong bolt. There's a bolt back here on the back of the block that I thought was the transmission bolt. Well, it was not. So I pulled that bolt, which was the wrong bolt. Furthermore, back there is the actual transmission bolt. It's the last bolt we have, and we have spent quite a bit of time trying to get that out, as you can see from the time lapse. And we cannot get it out. If I remember correctly, when we went to go put that in, we had probably, 4 foot of extensions coming from underneath the truck up to the front. And yeah, it's not happening right now. It's starting to get laid out, so we're going to work on this tomorrow. More than likely what we'll have to do, unhook the hoist, pull that back, lower the truck back down, pull the whole truck forward again, put it on the lift, get it up, put 1 or 2 of the bottom transmission bolts in so that we have something to hold it, because once we take that top bolt off, there's no connection points besides the dowel pins holding the transmission up on the front side. So probably going to have to do that, then lower it back down, put it back on the hoist how it is currently, get everything put back together, and then we can pull it off. At least that is kind of the plan. So we will be back at it tomorrow and try to do some more work getting this thing out.
The next day.
All right, guys, this is take 2. We already got the truck on the lift, took that bolt out that we couldn't get, and now we're getting everything set up to go back and actually pull the engine. So I'm gonna do that now. Here's the truck. Engine bay is empty. Engine standing right here on this engine stand. And it is ready to start getting items transferred over from this one over to that one. And that's kind of what we're going to be doing now. Just getting everything transferred. All the valve covers, the accessory drive, oil pan, etc. All of that's going to get transitioned over to the new engine. So there's the progress update. This engine is now out. Look at that. Empty engine bay. It was a tight fit coming out the top. Very tight fit with the water pump and all the accessories on, but it made it. Just had to move all the wiring out of the way, get all that snugged up. We also need to put a seal on the front of that transmission so that thing can stop leaking. Plenty of work to do. I also plan on doing kind of a small inspection in here to see how things are holding up. I believe I saw some wires that were getting a little hot. Yeah, right there. You can see this ground. The loom is melting a little bit on that, so definitely need to put some heat shielding on there. I think I'm also going to wrap up the exhaust manifolds and actually put the heat wrap on them. That way we can keep the engine bay temperatures down, hopefully a little bit, by letting some of that heat go out the exhaust. And if you're wondering how these manifolds held up with the coating, you can see there's a little bit of rust on there, a little bit of, I think that's rust. I don't think that's wiping off. Maybe it is, I don't know. But, they still look good. They definitely look better than if they were left exposed how they were, but now I'm going to wrap them so it doesn't quite matter as much. But they came out no problem. Really, my biggest issue was getting the spark plugs out, not this. Not the manifolds. The bolts came out pretty easy. Put some anti-seize in there and things just work. So, yeah. That's how well the coating's held up there. You can't see the coating inside because everything's black. Like if you look out the exhaust ports on the heads, everything's coated in soot. So, yeah. But we are going to make some progress on this. Alright, as you all saw, transferred the AC compressor from one engine to the other, also pulled the oil pan. Come and look inside the oil pan and you can see there is some foreign material there all up in the oil pan. That is not very good. I believe that's all metal. If I took a magnet in there, I'm pretty sure most of that would be attracted to it. So that is the reasoning that we really decided to do this swap. This was causing low oil pressure. Also, you don't want metal in your oil in general. Definitely got to make sure this all gets cleaned out very, very well. So y'all saw my dad flip the engine over. If we look in the oil pickup tube, you can see chunks in there. Yeah, his words were engine wasn't going to last long, and judging by that, I don't think it would either. That is not a good sign, so it's probably better we pulled it when we did and stopped running it. Otherwise it'd just make it worse and possibly, ruin the whole engine instead of it being salvageable. Need to get that cleaned up, taken off, checked out, transferred over to this engine, all the oil pan stuff. We're actually going to switch the heads over from this engine to this one. Yeah, so he said he got it milled 20 thousandths and wasn't quite certain on the push rod lengths. So just to be safe, we're going to go ahead and put my heads on, which haven't been touched, machined in that aspect with my push rods. And also we have different springs here. He ended up getting the dual spring with titanium retainers, while I just went single with non-titanium. Just figured keep everything the same that we can from engine to engine. Alright, so we got the two engines here. We've done a little bit more work to this one. We got the oil pan off. I believe you saw us take that off. We also ended up taking the valve covers off and going ahead and taking the rockers and everything there off, the rods. We took the oil pump off and tried getting the cam. We can't quite get that out right now due to the lifters. They're still in there. You can put rods in here to hold the lifters up, but we don't have those. Other than that though, pretty much we just need to get everything cleaned up. I want to clean that oil pan up more. Got to clean the oil tube up that, pumps the oil from the bottom of the pan. That had some chunks in the grill there, so we really don't want to have those in the new engine. We want to get all that cleaned up and then start transferring parts over, really just getting everything set up so we can get that ready to go and put back in the truck. So yeah, that's kind of where we are with the engines right now, and we're just going to continue to make progress. Dad already started, but he's getting the cam out.
Maybe.
Possibly. The other way of doing it is to flip the engine upside down so the lifters fall.
That's the one right there. That one's moved. Come here. Don't know if you can see it, but that's the, let me get something to point. That's the cam bearing right there poking out the block. It shouldn't be like that. That's it, it shouldn't be out like that right there, where you get that lip. If you look on the other side, it's actually recessed back up in the block, which is hard to see because everything's in the way, but see, look, actually, you can see really how bad it is from right here, right?
One sec.
Right there.
Right there. You can kind of see.
Oh, no. Yep, it locked up on that one. Look how hot it got. So what happened on it was the center cam bearing on it got hot, lost oil pressure, did something, and it kind of seized up, and you see how hot it got, how blue it is there on the edge. And then we got a piece of the metal, the babbitt from the bearing actually came out with it. So it's definitely walked in the block, the cam bearing did.
Yeah, not great. This cam is toast now. Okay, we just took the head off, as you just saw, and if you'll look, there's a little nick on the piston from the exhaust valve, and it's in every single one. So, not good there. I guess we didn't have that clearanced out properly. Also, as my dad pointed out, this engine's had a few miles on it. The cylinders are completely smooth, no crosshatch, but I didn't do anything for that when I was building the engine anyway, so that's what we got so far. I'm going to take the other head off. I'm sure we'll see the same thing in that other head. Alright, time to see.
Yep. Oh no.
Kind of. As I believe we've shown y'all before, we had some clearancing issues between the piston and the valve on the engine I had in the truck. So to try to mitigate that, we're going to test the clearance on this engine. You can see my dad went with flat top piston, so hopefully we still have clearance with that, better clearance than the other engine. He's thinking, well, Dad's thinking the timing chain was a little loose, which can cause it to get a little bit out of time as far as when the valves open and the pistons retract. So we're hoping that's what it is and we don't have any clearance issues, but we're going to find out. We're going to leave the old head gasket on. We're going to torque it to the first torque setting that we have and put some Play-Doh on, try to see what our clearance is. We just took the head off. You can see the Play-Doh here. I went ahead and cut it where we saw the thinnest area, which is right here. And you can see it looks like we have plenty of clearance. We haven't measured it, but it's looking good so far.
It's probably close to 90,000.
If you didn't hear that, my dad said it's probably close to 90,000. We'll have to get the dowel calipers out to really see, which he has in hand right now.
I went a little too far with the calipers. I got down to 80, but it's probably closer to 90 because I smashed it when I went down with the calipers to 80. So, yeah, we're probably 85 to 95,000, somewhere around in there. It'll be good.
A little bit more clearance than what we had on the other engine. All right, guys, made a decent amount of progress today. We got the head bolted back on with the new head gaskets, got them all cleaned up before we did that. Got all the gunk out that was in there. Got the push rods and the rockers in, so all of that is good. Done that to both sides. And we also got the front cover in, the front seal, everything ready to go there, all torqued down, so we're looking good. Oh, forgot to mention we also got the oil pickup tube on with the new O-ring on it and then the little bracket I have. Currently, we are waiting to get some RTV. We got to go do that so we can put some in these cracks, you know, where the two different surfaces are mating to. Same thing on the back as well. Want to put RTV there just to be a little extra safe. Another precautionary measure, and then we can put the oil pan gasket on and oil pan on, flip it over, and she'll almost be ready to go in the truck. So we are steady making progress, and it is starting to come together.
There you go. I do. All right, get my caliper so I can measure this. I'll make one. There it is. Okay, so what we're trying to do now, we're trying to pressurize the motor with oil, get the lifters, get them pumped up, get oil flowing. What I like to see is oil coming out of right here where the push rods come through. Not real sure it'll do that. I've never tried this on an LS motor before, but this one's never, I mean, it's not one we just pulled out and put in something else. We pulled it out, rebuilt it, so we don't want to start it up dry. He's already filled the oil filter with oil. I'm using a power brake bleeder canister. We put oil in it, got it hooked to the oil galley right where the oil pump pumps the oil to the filter and then to the rest of the engine. So we're going to pressurize it and see what it does.
Hey guys, as you can see, back out here working on the truck. And if you're looking behind me, and from what you can tell in the clips from just before, we did get the engine in the truck. So the one thing with that is it's in, the mounts are bolted, they're loose, but they're bolted. The other thing is the transmission's not in all the way. We don't have all the bolts in that we're going to put in. We have the top bolt in, 3 out of the 4 bottom ones that we want to put in, and that's all we're putting in. So it's going to be held on with 5 bolts. There is a 6 bolt we can put in, but that one is a lot more difficult to take out in the future. While we have one of the bolts in the top, there are kind of 2 up there that we can do. That second one is just way too difficult, and it's really not going to do anything for us. Once we get the 5 bolts in, we should be, pretty well set to go. So I still got to get one more bolt in, and to do that, I need to lift the transmission, or drop the transmission cross member, lower the transmission down, get it in, and we should be good to go. I'll take y'all over to the 86C10, and I'll show y'all what bolts I'm talking about. Alright, we are over here at the 5.3 bolted the 4L60 on the 86C10 frame. And the bolts I'll be putting in are this one, there's one down lower, this one, and then the one down lower here, also this. So I guess there's more than 6. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts. So never mind, we're going to be putting 7 bolts in. Only one we're not putting in is this one. This one's the really difficult one to get to. So I misspoke before. It's not 5 bolts, it's 7 bolts. So I'm going to go ahead, get the truck up, and start doing that. I'm probably not going to film any of that because it's nothing exciting, nothing really there to see. So I'll update y'all when we get past that point. So y'all can see, under the truck, I just finished getting the transmission bolted up. So this is completely bolted now. Very happy about that. I got the cross member back in, so everything is good there. We are good to go. Transmission's pretty much in. I need to lower the truck down and make sure that the bolt on top of the transmission is tightened because everything else is. So other than that, it is ready to go. And just like that, we are back out here the next day to work on the truck some more. Y'all heard what I just said that we did yesterday, so I'm not going to reiterate that, but I will say kind of what the plan is moving forward. So I believe the next thing I'm going to try doing is getting these manifolds in on both sides, since I do have access to the front here to be able to, slide them through. I think now is going to be the best time, especially with all the accessories out of the way on this side. I believe that's what I did right before we started to try pulling the engine, so it only makes sense to do it in the reverse order. Go ahead and do that, then start getting the front accessory drive on. Okay guys, I had the time lapse rolling, but as y'all can see, I have made quite a bit of progress on the truck today. So if you look, most obvious thing is I got the intake on. So I got the intake on, I got all the connection points on that connected. So the fuel injectors, the coils, I got the throttle and cruise control cable connected. I have the vacuum boost, I have another vacuum for HVAC, I got everything connected on it, and it is all good to go. I also have the front accessories done, so that would be the water pump and the alternator power. So my phone just died. I'm going to go ahead and finish up on my phone. I have the water pump on. I have the alternator power steering accessory drive on. I got the belt on. I got everything really close to where we're needing to, move forward and get this truck started. I also got some of the water pump connections connected for the heater core. So we are making progress on this truck. And I'll go ahead and cut to the next day that we work on it. All right, just wanted to give a quick update. Got the spark plugs and the plug wires in, so that took a little bit longer than expected just because it is a tight engine bay and it is hard to get into some of the areas, especially since I already went ahead and put the steering shaft in back there and some of the other items. Also, I did break one spark plug wire when I tore the truck apart, so I do have a temporary replacement in here. You can see this red wire. That is a temporary solution right now just to get the truck running for now. I do plan on replacing that with the same cables as everything else, which is the shorter ones that are made for this. Let me see if I can get a light up in here. Which are the shorter ones like you see there that are actually made to fit this engine, as opposed to the Speed Engineering ones that came with the kit. But yeah, just wanted to give a quick update. This is what it is looking like now. Now I'm going to go under the truck and try getting the torque converter bolted down and getting that starter in. All right, we're up under the truck and you can see starter is in. There it is. So I got everything bolted in for that. It is ready to go. Also, remember to put the torque converter bolts in this time so we don't have what happened last time happen this time, where I didn't put the torque converter bolts on and the truck wouldn't move. It would run, but it wouldn't move when I put it in gear, and that's because if you're not transferring from the engine to the transmission, nothing's going to happen. So that is good. Now I'm working on the radiator. Alright, we're under the truck. As you can see, we have the transmission cooler lines all tightened up. That's all ready to go. Plugged in my electric fans. Got the hoses ran correctly with all of my management in place for it. So that is all good. Looking under, we also got all the exhaust hooked up. So the exhaust is hooked up the whole way through, as y'all can see, and the truck is pretty much ready to go. Once we go back up to the top side, everything on the top side's pretty much done. All we need to do is top off fluids, get the wheels on, double check everything real quick, and then we'll be ready to go. Like I said before, coming up to the top side, everything is connected. All the coolant hoses are connected. Everything is pretty much ready to go. You can see the top transmission cooler line right there is connected. The bottom one is as well. The plug on the bottom of the radiator is filled, or plugged as well. Only thing we don't have on is the intake, and we'll do that after we check our fluids. So once we do that, we'll be possibly ready to start it. At least put the battery in and load the new tune in, and then give it a shot. Alright, as you can see, Dad's still filling up the radiator with premix that we just made. And we already went to go and try starting the truck. Not even starting, just turning the key on so we could get the new tune in. And truck did not have any battery, so I had that battery, and you can see it's already out, on the tender all day today, and it didn't even have enough charge to keep the lights on the dash on. So we're going to go to the store, try getting this changed out. I think that one's still under warranty from when I first got the truck, so we'll see if we can get anything with that. If not, I'll have to buy a new battery, but then we'll actually get to load the tune in and hopefully start this thing. It sucks that one small component prevents the truck from starting, but battery's kind of crucial for this, so we're going to go ahead and get that swapped out.
Oil pressure?
Yeah, it went up to 40 just now.
Okay.
Which, I mean, it's barely running, so.
Yeah.
You want me to get a gas?
Mm-hmm. If you got oil pressure, I do.
It's at 40.
All right.
Alright guys, well as you just heard, we got the truck running finally. And really it hasn't been that long, so just to give you all a timeline, and I know this is going to date the video, but I started this around Thanksgiving of 2022. So that'll be last Thanksgiving, supposedly when this video comes out, but Thanksgiving of 2022, and right now it is the day after Christmas, December 26th. And you know, that's through the holidays too, so, and I've been working. So I mean, I really don't think that's a bad timeline for getting engine pulled out, swapping everything over, putting the engine back in, getting everything hooked up. I mean, it's not the fastest thing. We're not setting any time records by any means necessary, but we did that in a very quick timeline, in my opinion, and I am very happy with that. Everything went together pretty smoothly. We didn't really run into any issues. Like I said in the last little bit, I did have to go get a new battery, so I took that to AutoZone, got a new battery. That battery was like 8 months old, if that. It was definitely less than a year, so they did a straight exchange on it, which was great. I am very happy for that. Did not have to pay for a new battery. And it started on like the first crank. Had plenty of oil pressure. We were sitting around 43 pounds of oil pressure, which was what destroyed that other engine. Well, not the lack of oil pressure, but what caused the lack of oil pressure. So I am very happy with it. I'm probably going to go ahead and end this series off right here as far as doing this swap. Now this S10 is a 5.7 based engine as opposed to a 5.3 like it was before, and then the 4.3 before that. So you know, it's been getting a little bit meaner every time. Not intentionally, but it has been, so I can't really complain with that. But like I said, I am so happy with how far we came in such a short amount of time. Everything went back together pretty smoothly. I made a lot of progress today, and I kind of figured it was going to be like that because we didn't have to refabricate anything. Everything was already fabricated. We had everything the way we wanted to already, so it was just putting it back together like a puzzle. So yeah, I mean, look at this thing. It's all back together in its glory. Got that new battery in, like I said, and we have oil pressure. It all did well. We did prime the engine with oil beforehand. We're also running with a little bit more oil than previously, so you know, instead of running right in between the lines on the dipstick, we're running just above it. My dad did a little bit of research and found that you kind of want to run with a little over the top of the dipstick indicator for oil in these, because you don't want to deprive them of oil, especially when you have a high flow pump. I think that was the main reason in itself. So yeah, I am very, very happy that we got this thing started, and you know, there's definitely more to come with this truck. You haven't seen the last of this truck by any means. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.